Yo, what's good guys, Bunch here, back from another video, and today we're hopping into another College Football 26 ebook. Today I got Penn State for you guys, which was definitely one of the more highly requested ebooks that I have seen, and this is definitely one of the best offensive playbooks in the game. Before we get into the video, make sure you guys do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel down below if you want more of these ebooks, and keep requesting which teams you guys want to see, because I'm definitely looking to bring them to you. Again, make sure you guys do subscribe. About 70% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. Let's get that number to about 50% as we grind for 25K here. Also, with the ebook, there will be a written version available for purchase. That link will be down below in the description. It will be to my website. You can purchase the ebook there. Additionally, I have memberships available for just a little bit more than the ebook costs, which will give you access to everything on the website. Definitely a good deal. If you guys want every ebook that is there, it's a no-brainer. So again, written version that has every setup, every play in order of this video, every coverage that it beats, Xbox and PlayStation. It is definitely worth it. I have not had any bad reviews on these ebooks, and it's a pretty affordable price too. So make sure you guys go check that out. But I think we all know why Penn State is pretty good. It definitely starts with this Wildcat offense here. And the real thing is, what do we pair with it? And that's what this video is going to help do. We're going to go over the Wildcat, of course, but then there's a lot of really good formations in here. Of course, the Y-off trips kind of being your bread and butter, but other formations that I like is this wing trio weak. We'll go over this. We will then go over the gun bunch strong wide, which is a dangerous, dangerous formation. Good bunch concepts, and definitely gives you some plays to pair with your Wildcat. So of course we will be starting out with the Wildcat, and the Wildcat is going to be this wing flex formation. Now again, obviously only going over the runs here, but we are going to start with probably the best run in the game, if not the best play in the game, RPO power halfback swing. If anybody has defense for this, definitely let me know, because I struggle to stop it when I play it. And again, there's obviously no reason for someone to like go away from it until they prove you can stop it. And another reason why this is good is because the nickel corner will always line up on the wrong side. So you'll notice that, but very simple. You're never really going to run this as an RPO. What you're actually always going to do is just keep it, really. You can be patient, and I mean, just super dangerous. I could throw it if I want to. That's a throw that your running back can, of course, make. Like if I want to, just throw it out there. But when the running backs throw it, because they have no arm strength, it just takes longer to get there and usually end up losing yards. But again, very simple. I like to be patient here. I don't even like to hold the right trigger until I can get that pulling guard out there, because a lot of times you'll actually sprint into the defender because it's going to take him so long. So I'm not holding right trigger, and then I can kind of see where he's going to go there. But this is usually a guaranteed like 10 yards. I mean, it is difficult to stop. Even if we like flip our defense, we press, pinch our D-line, blitz everybody, try and like put together a good thing to stop it, you see it only actually hurts it. So it's funny in that regard, to where you try to put together a good defense for this and it ends up playing it worse. So I haven't found really great defense for it. If you guys have, I will be dropping a load mug ebook as well, hopefully this weekend. But super dangerous, and again, like you can try all these different setups to stop it. It really, again, only really makes it worse. Like, let's shift the linebackers over, let's blitz all linebackers, let's put you in a spy. Like, well, like will you try tons of different stuff, and again, they play it so stupid. I don't know how you'd stop it, but that is a look at what's going to happen if they try to stop it. And it's broken, especially if you're playing regs and you are using Penn State, because you have the two of the best running backs in college football with Singleton and Allen, and you can rotate them, and it's just beyond broken. So again, honestly, the best defense is to kind of sit here, but because then it's like, oh, I got 20 yards, but I didn't give up a touchdown, so it's just so broken. And then let's say they start stopping it, then we have 4 other runs, which I'll show this just one more time here, and then we'll move on, because I mean, you guys can see pretty clearly how good the play is, and it's difficult to stop. Let's say they come out in a heavy defense, which is possible. I don't have any really in this defense, unfortunately, actually, which kind of sucks. But let's say they run a 3-3-5 penny, which would probably be your best bet. Quarters would be a good run defense, generally speaking. Let's say they run that. You'll see it's a little bit better, but again, we still pick up almost 15 to 20 yards before contact. So it is just broken. But let's move into some of these other run plays that I like. None are going to be as good as that RPO power halfback swing, but let's just talk about I like the blast on the left here. I think my face cam is blocking it, but I like the blast. Speed option can work as well. And then also the halfback direct snap is broken. And then I like this little zone play as well. There's some passes, but again, when you're passing with the slow guys, it's just not great. So let's talk about our blast here. This is a good run if you want to kind of run it up the middle. So let's stick in this quarters because I think it's good run defense. This probably will be actually good, solid run defense against this. But this is a good play for your like 4th and 1 situations. And you see we're actually playing good defense in this quarters, but obviously if you saw them come out in this, what would you do? You would literally just run that RPO power halfback swing. So it's decent. Let's say they're back in the nickel because, again, this is good run defense, but the odds of them running it, I haven't seen too many people run that. So let's say they are back in their load mug. And again, I'll try to go through decently quick here, but just want to show all the runs. So again, with blast, the weakness is usually that edge defender. He sometimes doesn't get picked up depending on the formation, but this is a look at, obviously, it working pretty well. Now again, it's going to depend on that block with Logan Allen. So again, this is a situation where you probably want to, again, be patient. I'm not holding the right trigger really until I actually get all those blocks picked up. So being patient is your friend here. You always, especially with how much space you're going to have, you want to like almost try and slow up so that Logan Allen, I think his name is Logan Allen, maybe I'm Nick Allen, I don't know, I can't remember, but pretty solid run up the gut. Again, I like that for 4th and 1. I like that in the red zone, move it up the gut, especially if he's stacking the box outside because he can't stop your RPO power halfback swing. That's what you do. Now our next run is going to be just called zone, which is going to be on the left-hand side here. My face cam is blocking it again, but it looks similar to the last play we ran. The difference is we're just going to be going to the outside here. So it's just designed to go to the outside here. And it's pretty similar to the RPO. It's just the defenders don't glitch out as much. Now, I think with some of those coaching adjustment settings, what you can do is you can kind of have them play the running back a little bit better, and they would probably be playing it better. But again, it still doesn't stop it. You guys know that nothing really stops it. But look at the blocks on this play. I want you guys just to take a look at how these guys are blocking against my defense. And it's the reason it's so good is because these defenders just don't play aggressive. But like, they just back off, especially if they're not in blitzes. They will back off, and then they'll just get absolutely pushed around. So again, even if we like flip, we try and like pinch our D-line, crash down, blitz these linebackers. We'll press, we will show blitz, try and like stack the absolute box here. It's usually, now that was awful run stick, but we probably had a touchdown to the outside there. So just a dangerous, dangerous play. And again, now if 53 misses block, then it can be good. And that's kind of how you have to play defense on Wildcat. You have to try and like gap shoot. But even then, you're picking up 3 yards. You'll take 3 yards because eventually one of those runs is going to pop off. So next, let's talk about the, let's go to the direct snap. I have the speed option in the ebook if you guys are looking at it, but let's go to the direct snap. I'm going to try and like switch up these defenses so that you guys can get kind of these different looks. But here's the direct snap. This is a pretty broken play as well. Now, this is going to depend, again, on the defense that they're running, but of course, these runs are usually pretty good. Now, actually, this 3-3 mint is pretty solid run defense, it seems. But of course, you can like kind of cut it back, have success that way. You guys know how good this run is. And let's say, I don't know. I think the biggest problem is that this guy isn't getting picked up. Let's try and ID him. So if you can kind of outrun that guy, it can be good. It's a good little mix-up, I think. Seems to be a little better, good using the blocks, going up the middle. Again, you probably want to try and be patient. It kind of gives you a little running start, but you almost want to like try and be patient, and then you can cut it back and pick up your yards. Again, probably a decent red zone play, and you'll figure out the weakness of his defense. Most people are going to probably stay in the same defense against this and be hard, strong, you know. This defense is going to work, but eventually you'll find the play because we have 5 running plays. You'll find the weakness of the defense, and you can just keep running that play until then they switch defenses, and then you find the next play that's good because we have so many options. So our last option is going to be our speed option on the right hand side here. let's say they're in a double mug, which would be one of the worst defenses, I believe, to run against at least the RPO. But again, I probably made a little bit of a wrong decision there, but pretty simple speed option. You're just going to pitch it to whoever that guy's playing. Here, now 53 held this block. We probably had a touchdown. That'll happen. Do not avoid this run because you get shedded one time. Because then, boom, we toss it. Toss is a little bit slow, so you usually won't score a touchdown if you do end up tossing. But, you know, it's just a solid run play. You guys know how this works. And it's going to be pretty solid. And this is, again, a stacked box. We have 11 in the box here, and it's still working. Just using the numbers. You can cut it back, mix it up. And it's just dangerous. So let's move into our next formation, which is going to be the gun Y off trips, which is, again, another solid play here. Let's set up our audibles out of this formation. I like flood halfback swing, RPO read, Y flat, verticals, Y option, and PA double post. Those are the plays that we are going to be going over, and we are going to start with our RPO read Y flat because it's probably your best bet to pick up yardage. Now, there are better ways to play it, but the fact that it's a read option, I think, makes it pretty dangerous overall. So, again, you're going to read this guy, the D end on the right-hand side, and obviously just you're going to attack the weakness here, get that guy in space. Even if you only pick up like 3 or 4 yards on this play, you guys will see that the potential is dangerous. I wouldn't pass lead like I did. I tried to kind of pass lead him up there. I would probably just leave it alone. But again, it's going to come down to 11 getting a block. Now 11 is a pretty tiny, fast guy. So you're not going to get, you know, a great block from him ever. But even with him just basically not blocking anybody, you are picking up a lot of yards over there. And then boom, the moment he crashes, you can actually keep it with your quarterback. I would slide always with Drew Aller if you are using Penn State and regs, but it becomes dangerous in that way. Now, 8 usually is able to hold his block for us, but in this case he doesn't, which is fine. And then, of course, you can just hand it off. Now, handing it off is going to be probably your last choice, but in the case that he hands it off, his user is probably going to sprint over to defend the flat route, and that's going to open up probably a bigger gap because everyone's kind of playing it here. So even with them playing it, we're picking up, you know, a couple yards, which is okay. But you can also throw it a little bit later, and that's going to help just get him upfield even more. So definitely a dangerous play. And again, your second option is to hopefully keep it. I like to run over these corners if it is a corner that, you know, sheds your wide receiver, and obviously putting a bigger receiver at that outside B wide receiver or circle wide receiver is going to be key because he's going to help just hold the block. So put your tall guy out there, let him do his thing. And then, I mean, you even have the hitch over here. Don't sleep on the hitch if they're playing off coverage. If there's no safety over there, no slot corner, and you can hit this, feel free, because that's a solid option in the red zone, especially when he's not expecting it. People forget about that route. And again, it's a choice. So against zone, he is going to sit. Against man, he's going to kind of run upfield, I believe. So be aware. Let's try it. Let's run man coverage. I don't know. Let's put this to the test. I guess he's going to stop either way. So I don't know why it shows him as a choice if he only stops, but I'm okay. You kind of prefer that he stops. But, I mean, super easy. It's going to work. Obviously, he can kind of overcommit to it, but it's not really going to matter. Like, let's say he tries to blitz and do all this stuff, and maybe he tries to man up him on the tight end and play a coverage like this. Even with him playing a coverage like that, you see it can kind of be open, but if he does play coverage like that, and I'll set it up like that again, it's a super aggressive and idiotic thing to do because he's going to overcommit, and it's probably going to open our running lane over here. Now, I should have just ID'd that linebacker, but if the left guard would have just taken him, we probably could have had a touchdown. But obviously, if he overcommits like that, that's when our passing plays start to open up, which we'll actually talk about next. Now, the first passing play we're going to go over is the PA double post, which is going to be on the right-hand side here. And PA double post is going to be pretty good here. Lots to like. I like R1's short post. I like A potentially on that wheel route. First setup, drag RB, put B on an out route. You can also just block the running back here. But we kind of try to open up our tight end here. Now, he ran a really slow route, but usually he's solid over there. Like, kind of want to hit him in that window, and he's dropping it a lot. It's probably honestly more open if we do like press at the line of scrimmage. But you're kind of trying to open him up. We have a few options, of course, basically 2 drag routes, so we have options over there. But that's, I mean, you're trying to kind of hit him in that window, and you might have more space if you're completely over to the left hash. But, I mean, just a good kind of quick snap setup. Let's say it's defended. Then again, you can just check it down over here and pick up some decent amount of yards there. Now, one thing with this play that's kind of frustrating is the blocking. If you notice, what's happening every time is the running back is picking up him every time, which we don't really want. So I usually like to kind of almost untarget him so that he just picks it up normally if you can. And I was just showing the blocking there. I didn't really set up anything, but I untargeted him. If you guys don't know how to do that, you press LB and then you press Y, and then you can just go on him, and that's going to just have him pick it up normally, even with the play action. Now, nobody else blocked, but that's how you do that. So let's go into the second setup. I like to streak A, drag B, come back X. This is a solid almost cover 3 beater, I believe. Again, I like to untarget this player so we can actually keep our play action if we'd like. And then we can kind of hit him in this window. Now, you're not really going to hit him deep, and you can also kind of move him up a little bit. I think you could custom stem him up maybe once. That could help. And again, I could also like half slide over to the left, and that's going to get them to block just a little bit normal. But it might take a little bit of time, but you do kind of want to stay strong in the pocket because you can't really roll out right in this case. And there's a little bit of cluster in the middle of the field, but again, usually it is okay. Sometimes you'll be able to rat catch it, but I usually recommend just kind of aggressive catching it or just falling on the ground. But overall, good setup against cover 2. I would not really run this or man coverage, but just a decent cover 3 beater option. Next setup is going to be drag A, zig RB. Just a good little kind of quick snap setup, in my opinion. Solid man coverage beater. I wouldn't really run this against cover 2 either, but it's decent against cover 3, I think. Zig routes, we'll have a lot of those. Zigs, returns, very good routes this year, specifically against the man coverage that you'll face a lot. So, decent play there, and then we can kind of hit this post route in the middle of the field. The drag with the kind of stock short cross with X. Pulls down those zones just enough to open up B there, and then we have R1 kind of pulling down some of those zones over there. So, I threw it a little bit late there. You kind of want to throw it on break. I mean, what you can do as well is just put X on a drag, get him a little bit shorter if you really wanted to. I accidentally blocked him, but you see how that definitely pulls them down. So that's a decent concept to go to as well. Let's say they are in man. How does this play fare against man? Now, B should have got open. He got pass interfered with. RB is usually pretty solid, and then 2 drags, kind of self-explanatory. So let's go into our last setup. Last setup is going to be choice RB, which is right trigger, and then we're going to flat Y, drag A, come back X. So I kind of like this as a spacing concept with RB, Penn over there, and then we have the flat backside post should be coming across open, and then you have your drag as a late check down if his user is kind of sitting there, but usually like it to open up this. It's a good like 3rd and 2 kind of spacing concept. The flat route probably ends up coming across open late as well, but you can also hit this post on the back side. And then again, let's say they're in a Tampa 2. It's probably going to work almost a little bit better here. Make sure you do that half slide adjustment. You see I'm kind of skipping out on it, and it's definitely making me pay. It's frustrating, but again, you do kind of have to do it because otherwise that's going to happen. But again, just take your hitch here. You'll take your 4 or 5. We even almost get 6 there. So just a decent play. Let's hop into our next play, which is going to be the verticals Y option, which is a little bit similar, but we have kind of a stock nice table route. My face cam is blocking it. But here's a look at the play art. Nice little stock streaks. backside dig with X, and then a little deep curl route with A, and a nice table route. So just kind of a good base play that you can audible off of. That's what I kind of use it for. So I'll usually drag X, post A, corner RB, kind of a traditional looking setup. You can custom stem R1 down if you'd like, but I almost like him going a little bit deeper here because B is on actually a normal streak for once. So he's on a little bit of a shorter fade. If you put B on a fade, you'll see how it's a little bit slower. And if you snap the ball, it takes him longer to get up the field. So this corner route wouldn't be as open, although I didn't have him on a corner route. So I like the stock streak option. Obviously, it's not as good as like a traditional fade route, but it's good enough to get the job done. So again, drag X, post A, corner RB. A lot of options here. Again, perfectly okay checking it down here because you can pick up 15 yards on these drag routes, and especially he's going to have to probably user up to the corner route. So, and his user could also forget about the post in the middle of the field here, which don't forget about that. Kind of highball it over the top there if they're a little bit too far up. Otherwise, you could probably have bulleted that as well. So let's show it against a cover 2 look. Cover 2 would probably be a little bit trickier, but you can still just check it down to your running back here and take your 5. You could hit the drag. The post should be coming across open. Let's say they run man-to-man coverage. Man-to-man coverage, I would also potentially look for B here. If they are running heavy man, I would probably custom stem down, maybe 1 higher than this, just to try and get like a better release, which you see we do get there. So now we have a good receiver in Penn there, so he is actually going to do us a lot of favors, but that's a good option if it is man. Next setup is going to be post A. We're actually going to post B, choice RB. We're going to then motion X in here, and we're going to put him on a choice. So this is a really good kind of spacing concept. Again, good 3rd and 5, 3rd and goal, or like setups. Love these little just hitch routes because what they do is they pull down the zones, but they're also open to throw, and you can't user both of them. Not a lot of people will use these kind of concepts, and there's no reason not to. They get wide open. So look at this. This is even more open than that little setup we kind of ran out of PA double post where we choiced RB, flat Y, drag A, come back X. This is just an even better setup because we have those post routes. And what they do is pull them up. So it actually opens up your choice route even more, but you can also hit B in this window, and the flat route's also potentially open. So just a lot of options for us here. I wouldn't really run this too much against man coverage. You have A and B that can get open, but those choice routes, they don't sit. Sometimes they're open against man, sometimes they're just kind of completely covered. It's almost a hit or miss, but they can just kind of sit there and be open against man, but a lot of times they'll just drop the ball. But here it is against cover 2. No brainer to hit this backside post there. X, I'm sure, was open, or A. And it's just a good concept. Next setup and last setup for this play is deep cross A, post B, choice RB, and fade X. So kind of an interesting looking setup, similarly looking setup. We try and kind of open up A here if we're able to. Now, our tight end is pretty slow, so he runs this super slow, but he actually gets a nice catch there. Sometimes he'll be able to get over the top, sometimes he won't. I like this setup against man, but the spacing is good against zone. I'm sure B was coming across open. And yeah, here's a look once again. So we always keep this flat route every setup, but let's say it is Tampa 2. You kind of hope that A can get over the top a little bit. I don't know if you can custom stem those. I don't think so. I was talking about the crossers, but here it is against cover 2. He should be almost a little bit actually too short, which is good because you can throw it underneath. And then, of course, I think our hitch just sitting there wide open and should be similar to that other setup against cover 2 where B should be coming across open right there. So safety plays that dumb, but easy play for us. So let's move into our last play for this gun Y off trips, which is going to be flood halfback swing. It's going to be on our right-hand side there, and it's kind of a similarly looking setup. Again, working those backside posts. Super good concept to use. The good players always use those concepts because it's difficult to user and expect, especially if you run heavy corner route offense, heavy drags, little angle routes, you work the middle of the field, then they're not going to be expecting that. So First setup, Zig RB, drag A, Texas Y, comeback X, and then I like to smart out B. So, good setup on paper, a lot of man beaters, 4 on that right side. And then just basic zone beaters. I think B's coming across wide open because the Zig pulls them down and outside. Now, I smart out B to get him a little bit shorter, actually, which is our goal. I do like this almost more of a man-beating play, but that was cover 3. Let's say they run it against cover 2. Then you can hit him. You can see that number 11, our B or circle wide receiver who's coming across open. Very good concept against cover 2. It's those backside posts used to never really work against cover 2, but they're a lot better this year. And they're almost better now against cover 2 than cover 3, and I would go as far as to say they are. Man coverage, we have our man beating plays, so immediately drag is our first read. If he's not on top of that, then we have almost a lot of going on in the middle of the field to where you can get open. Backside post, zig should all be man coverage. Texas route, not as good against man this year as it previously was, but still going to work. And yeah, let's move into our next setup. So next setup is slant A, smart route B, flat Y, and then I just kind of smoke screen X. It's a little bit of an interesting looking setup, but it's a heavy man beating setup. Post, slant, out route, and then flats. We have kind of 3 man beating routes here. I love the spacing over here. It usually allows an easy read, whereas sometimes with the corner route, it's a little bit less obvious as to which player you should throw the football to. So here it is again against cover 3. You have this little slant here, but again, if they're playing too far over the top, then you can just hit the smoke screen. I didn't mean to snap it, but just check it down. But yeah, just a decent setup. I do enjoy the setup against a man look, primarily. So, again, here's a look. If it is man coverage, now out route should be pretty money. It should be a lot better at getting open than the traditional corner route. And it's almost a good quick snap setup as well. Let's say Tampa 2. Expecting Y to be our read here, which it is. Slant route, smoke screen. Again, one of those two should always be open as well. So last setup for this formation, we're going to zig A, smart out B, streak RB, and put Y on a little in route. Interesting looking setup. Again, I like this against man, but we have a few other options. So let's just run it and take a look here. Now, this spacing is a little bit weird with the streak, I would say, but if you throw it on break, it should be decent, and it could also come across a little bit later. I threw that with some pretty bad timing. Honestly, I don't love it against cover 3. I'm going to adjust that. I think it would be better probably against the cover 4, just because you have a lot of those in-breaking routes, confusing kind of routes. Let's try it against cover 2. I may just like this just as a man-beating setup. I'm trying to remember when I made this. But yeah, I mean, you have your zig, then the post is going to be coming across open. Backside dig is probably not going to be open, but it should open up your running back. So I would probably prefer this against a cover 2 for sure. Now, Y, just absolute disaster. He would be coming across and be open there, but a disaster for him regardless. And yeah, let's try and hit this post, and let's run it against man coverage, because we have a lot of man beaters out there. Let's try and use them. A is wide open, and then X gets open. Now it's cover 1, so he's not really sitting open, but then your post should be coming across and beat man coverage as well. So good options there. But let's hop into our next formation, which is going to be the gun bunch strong wide. All right, now our next formation that we're going to go over is going to be this gun bunch strong wide, which it looks worse on paper than it actually is. It's actually pretty solid. There's one issue I have with it, but honestly, you can't do anything about it. So it's kind of a bummer, but it's bunch, so it's going to be good. We all know bunch is good regardless. You can always make bunch work, and bunch will always be one of the better offenses in any form. It doesn't matter where the wide receivers are. There's good concepts, and there's good traditional bunch concepts and plays that I like. starting with our dig return play, very good red zone play, very good short yardage play in the middle there. And then I, of course, love clear out FL in. It's not as good as the traditional bunch one used to be because one reason, and I'll talk about it, speed option is a new kind of play in there, which is very fun and very good for short yardage. And then some cool motion plays, which we will use that motion bench return and the motion X replace. And then, yeah, I mean, a few trick screen plays, but we're going to stick to the traditional stuff. My audibles are dig return, inside zone, motion X replace, and clear out FL in. If you prefer motion bench return, go for it, put that in there. But let's start out with our clear out FL in. So, where are we? I don't know if I think I talked about my audibles in the other one, but let's go to clear out FL in. Where are you? On the left there. So now clear out FL in was always very good because it was a good cover 3 beater with RB. But the one issue I have with the offense is with this B wide receiver, you can't actually put him on a good enough corner route. He doesn't have the traditional slot hot routes. He has the outside hot routes, which is stupid because if you look at X over there, he has the slot hot routes, but you really can't do anything with him. So if I put B on a corner route, he goes on the C route, and then like obviously it's not going to beat cover 3 because it takes too long to develop, despite him actually getting pretty open. So I mean, that's a good quick snap setup if you'd like. You could literally just drag X, corner B, and this setup wouldn't be awful, right? I mean, you're gonna have 2 guys wide open, so that's a bonus setup because that's not in the ebook, but that's what I'm talking about. Audibles aren't great. So regardless, first setup is going to be actually post RB. We're going to streak A, corner X. We're going to custom stem X to his lowest. So I like, look at here. And this is just kind of a good traditional setup, in my opinion. I like the spacing with B and RB, and I think it just gives you a few decent options, right? So, once again, all you're doing is putting RB on a post. I like A on the streak. He's already on a streak, but for spacing purposes, let's get him a little bit more to the right. B shows that it's deeper, but he really just runs more of a kind of normal in route. And then with X over here, you could go with whatever distance of corner route you want, but I kind of like him over there. And then it also kind of opens up as a cover 3 beater. And I would really only ever run this against cover 3. Although, could it work against man? Technically, yeah. But I like this as a cover 3 beater. I think he does a good job of pulling that zone down. And then it may not be a touchdown, but it's a good quick snap setup as well. So obviously you're just looking for some time here. And then boom, throw it over the top. Again, it's not going to be a touchdown because he can't hold him down there long enough, but it's a good cover 3 beater. I'll show it one more time. Streak A, post RB, and you could custom stem RB up. It's just going to take him longer to develop, if I'm not mistaken. So that's probably the reason you wouldn't want to do that. And although I guess it almost kind of opens up a little bit better. So it works in any regard. Run it how you like. How I did it there was honestly the best. I don't think I custom stemmed him down all the way. I maybe left him here, and then I custom stemmed RB up once, and then I streaked A. So let's try that again, because that was pretty money. And then boom, throw it over the top, and he actually holds him over there better. So let's update that. Custom stem, let's do, I think that's the 3rd lowest. And then let's put, and I don't finalize the ebooks until I'm done with the video because I do actually update them. So, and it's good that I do because I catch little things like these that just make the plays better when I actually try them out further than I do in the beginning because you're always trying different things out. So that is a good setup. Setup number 2, I like to corner A, drag B, flat Y, post X. Interesting looking setup on paper, but trust me, we're trying to open up A, and that is exactly what this play does. It opens up A very solidly. Doesn't take too much time to develop either, so I am a fan of that personally. And RB on the stock fade route is always the route we want to kind of build around, and it's very good to do that. We even have some good backside options. The drag with the post combo, one of those should be open, and then we have this little check down if we wanted to like roll out as well. But you see X, he is wide open over there. So that's a good kind of rollout option as well. Of course, we can throw it from the pocket, but let's say we try and like step up in the pocket here. Wow, we got shedded, but he is pretty wide open there. Let's say you run it against a Tampa 2. The post should be honestly even more open. This corner out should probably honestly be a little more open as well. So actually, no, X is not open, but holy crap, is our drag route open. So with everybody on the right side, I would find it hard to believe that he's going to actually stick with the drag route coming across. So if he is in a Tampa 2, that could be dangerous for him. So I love this setup. I think just the spacing of it makes it good. And again, boom, if it's Tampa 2, we can always check it down, although the corner out should open up. But let's go into dig return. Now with dig return, I only have one setup. I have a few more out of these next: motion bench return, motion X replace. I have 2 setups for bench return, 3 setups for X replace. A little bit of a tinier scheme, but again, when you're running Penn State, you're usually running the Wildcat majority of the time. You really wouldn't have to pass the ball that much. Now, of course, you can pass the ball a lot, but it just depends on how you want to play. You know, sometimes you may want to pass more. Sometimes you may want to just run the ball more. You know, I think this playbook gives you options for both. Now, dig return, always, this is one of my staple red zone plays. How I would always run it out of regular bunch back in the day is run it like this, and this is solid. But because he starts out inside, you could just put him on the choice route, and it's a little bit easier. So choice route works. This in route gets wide open, and the zig route should get wide open. I'm not sure why it's called dig return, but because he's on a zig. But you notice that B is on a little bit of a slower zig, which plays into your favor. And again, you can't hot route B on a zig because he has those outside wide receiver hot routes. So you can do that. Another thing that you saw I did is I moved him a little bit more inside. I wouldn't feel the need to do this, but technically it could help, right? You see it actually did help with the spacing because that linebacker and the hook curl on the left actually cheated in. So it would open up your choice instead of the dig route. It's just a dealer's choice type of a thing. So that's up to you guys. Let's say it's cover 2. Cover 2, your dig route's probably not going to get open because there's not much for it to get open over there. But flat route with the tight end is wide open. This return route's wide open. And I specifically love it for like 4th down situations. It's always a good red zone play too because B usually gets open. They're usually following RB. It's difficult to recover to it because it is so slow, so it almost looks like a drag and then it breaks. So if it is a man-to-man coverage look, boom, wide open over there, and that would be a touchdown if it was a 4th and 3, whatever the case may be, and he even gets pressed there. Let's say I want to run a traditional 2-man under, but say they blitz you. You have the running back blocked, so that should help. And you have X on the choice, too, which, if it is man-to-man coverage, he's going to kind of run an out route over there. And he should be able to potentially get separation. So dig route, open against man, and just a good setup. So let's move into motion bench return. Now, I don't ever keep the stock motions because they just slow you down, and I don't think they're particularly great. And it kind of gives away what play you're running, too, so I don't love them, but I do love some of the stock routes, specifically with the return route that we have access to out of this play. And it's, again, a different kind of return route. And with B, if I put him on the return, you see it's a little bit more outside, a little bit less clean, versus this stock one has a little bit more finite break the way a traditional zig would. So I like the stock route better. We're going to drag A, streak X, deep cross, RB, traditional kind of flood, almost dagger setup, but the spacing of this makes it good because B is going to come across late. He cannot user B and RB at the same time. One of them will always be open. Because we have X in the slot, we get him on a cleaner streak rather than the fade route. And then we have a drag as well, which is going to pull those zones down. So of course, we want to hit this crosser if we're able to, but let's say he just sticks to it with his user, which is entirely possible. Maybe he's playing underneath, so he has the need to defend a little bit deeper. Then our drag is covered, and then our crosser is covered, and then B is going to be wide open because, he can't not defend them both. So you would hit him here, and you could pick up close to a first down in most cases. And I had to get rid of the ball a little bit probably earlier than I wanted to, but that's simply just because of the pressure, not particularly the coverage. So again, if you could wait longer, you're going to get a little bit more space, but a completion, and it's just an easy read. You're making the game simple when you run the setup, I think, and that's the biggest thing you want in And that's why bunch is so good, because it usually makes it easy for the player. So if it is cover 2, perfectly okay hitting him. Our crosser on paper should be coming open. So we'll try and hit that. Did not mean to audible around, but let's go back to our Tampa 2 and run this just one more time against that. And again, 6-man protection is always valuable. You're gonna get more time for this crosser to open up. And you see you can still wait on it. Number 1 acts like he's gonna defend it, but if you wait long enough, and I pass led that outside with a free form and a high ball, and it's open. So man-to-man coverage, self-explanatory. R1's gonna get open, B's gonna get open, A's gonna get open. One of them he will not be usering, so you'll throw it to that one. Next setup, and the last setup for this play, is going to be streak A. We're actually going to motion A over, and he's going to actually kind of line up on the line of scrimmage, so if I wanted to ever block him, I guess actually I can't. I don't know why he has wide receiver hot routes from there, but ignore that. So we'll streak him, we'll motion him over. We're actually going to custom stem X to our lowest here. So right about here, boom. X should come across wide open immediately. But then we're going to deep cross R1. I love this setup against man, but just a lot going on, but difficult to defend. So with X over here, you usually can kind of hit him there. Now, number 2 is a good corner, so he plays it well, but, or I guess that was the safety potentially. But this is just kind of a unique setup, right? Oh crap, did not mean to do that. But I think it helps open up R1. Right there, boom. X almost runs up the field there. I didn't know he necessarily did that. Let's take a look at the replay, because that was kind of glitch. So he's on this corner out, and then he actually breaks it up. I don't know why he does that, but it definitely helps out, because now we can throw it to our crosser. And then, of course, who's wide open? He is wide open. So it opens up the return almost even more than that last setup. Just a solid option. Of course, if it is man-to-man coverage, X can get open. Now he's a little bit tighter. He has a little bit less room than you would potentially like. And if I want to, if it's zone, I could always like throw Y on a flat. But there's not particularly a need for him, so I will usually keep him blocked. But X can get open early. All these other routes, RB and B, should be open as well. So love this play. Let's hop into our last one out of this formation, which is going to be the motion X replace, which is going to be on the right-hand side here. So let's run this, and this play is interesting. I like the stock corner route, stock out route. We kind of just build around those, but it's a lot of hot routing. So we're going to custom stem down R1. I'm not going to go to the lowest. I'm going to go to the second lowest, which is right here, or here would work. It's up to you guys. If you ever prefer something different than what I do, don't hesitate to change it if you think the play works better than in a certain way. But so I custom stem him down. I post A. I go ahead and I choice X. And then what I like to do is also post B. But what I do with B is I like to use him as almost a streak, because if you put B on a streak, again, he's on this stupid fade route, which if I run this play like this, you'll see that RB is not going to be open because the fade takes so long. I mean, it kind of gets open over there, but traditionally, it's probably going to be covered if he's pressed because the fade takes so long. So basically what I'm doing, and I kind of like this corner, so maybe I'll say 3 up. I think it's just a little bit stronger. So let's go. Let's actually adjust that. Third lowest. Sometimes it's a little bit confusing because they are so close, but so I post B, and then all I do is I just custom stem him all the way up because he's going to basically be running a streak at this point. So we're okay with that. And then with X over there, you can just choice him and flat Y. So this is how I open up my corner route, because he's going to now run a streak, and that is going to get wide open. So you can definitely tell the difference. It's a lot easier of a pass. And if I want to, and again, you can't motion B out, which sucks, but it is what it is. So again, I like this corner route, the third lowest. Some good options as well. I'm sure A or X is coming across open. And then with B, just move him all the way up. Like here. I mean, just get him out of there, you know. So you check it down. Depending on the coverage, I'm sure A could be a little bit more open. But let's try it against cover 2. And cover 2 may play this just a little bit better, but and you don't have to move him down that much, but that's how I get my streak on paper, right? Second, third. That's a third. I don't know why it's so finicky, but whatever. So here it is against cover 2. He wide open, flat, wide open, post should be coming across wide open. So money in the bank. Second setup, we're going to drag a Texas wide corner X, just kind of snap it like this. Good man coverage beating setup, but against zone you have some holes as well. Love hitting Singleton out of the backfield if I'm able to. He has the safety valve quirk, so should be good there. And again, I don't worry about the spacing particularly as much, but nice pass. But I like it a little bit better probably against man, to be honest. There's holes in the zone, but I don't think it's as good. I like to use this deep corner out if I'm at all able to. With RB there. Inaccurate pass, but saw the separation was there. Anyways, last setup, streak a custom stem RB. We're going to go down 1, down 2, and then we're going to drag X, Texas Y. Good looking setup on paper. I love that spacing of that corner route. You could even potentially go down 1 more if you'd like, but then number 5 has a chance to play it in that curl flat zone. Let's say they run Tampa 2, and again, go down 1, 2, right there. Streak A, drag X, angle Y, X coming across late as well, and you have this angle route as well. So I could also hit the out over there. I mean, he's sitting wide open. That was cover 2. RB still was an option to throw to. Man-to-man coverage. This corner out should be coming across open. Otherwise, a lot of options. Drag, angle route, out route, wide open. Just hit that. So solid play. And then, yeah, let's talk about some of these run plays we have. We have just the traditional inside zone, which usually is a good run because the defense is kind of stacked on the right. And you'll usually get good blocks and good numbers to that left-hand side. So I actually enjoy using this run a lot, and I love running out of formations where there is the running back on the side of the 3 wide receivers. For that reason, now I would probably ID that linebacker to make sure your left guard doesn't double team and does pick him up. Looks like he was ID'd, so I don't know why, but that's what you want. Not great run stick, but run is decent. Let's show the speed option here. So speed option, again, kind of self-explanatory. Boom, toss it out. Stiff arm him. Now, again, kind of a solid, good like red zone, short yardage play. It's kind of a little bit unexpected as well. Now, good like 4th down, 4th and 1, red zone, 4th and goal type play if you're a little bit riskier. But you're going to usually get a yard. Just got to make the right read. If you don't love these, make sure you practice them. Now, that would have again worked, but we still pick up a yard. If 98 didn't shed us, or whatever that guy's number was, there he crashes. You can still like juke, though we don't get it great. Usually it's solid, right? And again, he's going to be playing non-aggressive run defense because he's defending so many passes, so make sure you guys do keep that in mind. But let's hop into our last formation, which is going to be the gun wing trio weak. So gun wing trio weak. There's also this formation, which isn't bad, but not any really stock plays that I love. And here's the wing trio weak, and I run just these. I run the red zone whip flood, the mesh dagger, and the Z middle up. So you see red zone whip flood on the right, mesh dagger on the left, and then the Z middle up is the one play where that X is actually on the outside. With the other 2 plays, the X is tighter, which is a little bit better for me, I think. So other than that, I don't love anything. You have your basic outside zone run as our option. So audibles, obviously the 3 plays we're going over. If I come out in tight, I wouldn't really ever audible to the wide formation or the wide play, the Z middle up, but you can audible from Z middle up to one of those plays. It's just going to be kind of obvious they're running one of those plays, but we're hot running around anyway. Not a big deal. So we're going to start out in the red zone whip flood here. And let's move the face cam. And yeah, so the first setup that I like with this play is going to be just flat Y, choice X. Very simple setup. And I want you to watch B here. Now, he's freaking impossible to see, but he's on like a little zig deep return route, and he actually gets pretty open over there. So I love that. And that's, again, you can't put the B outside receiver. He doesn't get the zig on his hot route options. And he's on a deeper one. RB, he does a good job of actually opening things up because he goes out and runs like a streak in a fade route. So he opens that up. And then over here on the left, easy spacing, X, A, or Y. One of them will be open, make the right read. Here, I would hit X. So, again, make the game simple. This is intended to only pick up 10 yards at the most, and it does that perfectly. And here, against cover 3, boom. Check that down. I'm sure it'll play the same against cover 2 as well. And against man, I would probably shy away from this setup for sure. But let's try it against Tampa 2. Works pretty much the same. Number 12, unless he's zone dropped. Most people probably zone drop up. He's not really going to get open there. So definitely a fan of this setup for sure, though. I mean, I love these little simple setups, and they just work well. So cover 4, again, I probably wouldn't run it against, but good, just clean setup. And yeah, against cover 2, if it is cover 2, A is going to be the guy open instead of X. So again, a lot of times he'll just hit B because he's going to be using the little hitches, but if he's not, you can hit them. Maybe he follows RB on the corner route. It's possible. So next setup, flat Y, corner X. Similarly looking setup, but we just kind of attack a little bit deeper. This gives us more of an option to hit our running back here rather than hitting the hitch. So this basically puts a little more pressure on the user. We still obviously can hit B because nothing's changing on the right-hand side, but he now can't user X and A at the same time, or Y and A at the same time. He has to pick one. So you can also custom stem X down a little bit if that is of concern. I would not be mad at that. Down 1, down 2, get him like here. I think this would probably work well. And this also just opens up your running back, honestly, a little bit more. So let's actually add that. Custom stem X down twice. Okay. And then again, adding to it. Let's run Tampa 2. Corner, I custom stem down. 1, 2. Maybe it's honestly better to leave him up against cover 2. You guys could be the judge here. So A open, our running back was open. Basically, custom stemming down is going to open up the flat route with the running back more, but if you leave him up, it's going to probably leave the corner out open more if he is going to be open. So dealer's choice there, but our last setup, flat Y, streak X, deep cross A, just trying to open up like a deep option on the left if at all possible. So you have your running back here late if you want it. I think the deep cross was coming across the field wide open, but you could also post him if you prefer that. It's just going to be a little bit slower developing, right? But that's how he should get open. It should work pretty well unless he's able to switch stick over there. So love that. And again, who's open on every play in this setup? RB wide receiver. He is open. It's a little bit of a scary throw, but as long as he's not hard flat over there, money in the bank. So let's go into our next setup, which is going to be Mesh Dagger. Now, Mesh Dagger is a good stock setup, but we can make it better, right? What I like to do is deep cross X, streak RB, slant B, and then I block Y. So it's going to look like this, just heavy man beaters. We want to hit Ross, but he does take time, so be careful in the pocket. You want to try and slide and maximize this and move around as much as possible, but if you do get the time, he's going to be open. You could also pass this down a little bit if you wait even longer. But other than that, just building around the rest of the setup, we get the protection that we need. 6-man protection. We have the drag, the slant. Would all be good against man. And here it is against cover 3 one more time. Okay, just hitting him. a lot of times they will be kind of go drag to slant with the progression. So the crosser is, again, the guy you want to try and hit if at all possible, because it's going to be your best bang for your buck yardage wise. So I can go beyond an in route. I love these in routes this year. So if you guys prefer the in route, I'm not opposed to that because it runs a little bit shorter, makes it difficult to use her, but you can hit him here. I let go of it a little bit earlier than I necessarily had to, but it still works the same. So you go in with B. Honestly, I kind of prefer that. So let's actually just update that because I think that just runs a little bit cleaner. The in routes, honestly, I like better probably than the drags sometimes, as long as it's not the tight end or the slot receiver. Those drags from the outside receiver, sometimes they get bumped up and they just run like complete idiots, and it's just an absolute nightmare. But let's say it is man-to-man coverage. That's where your slant's maybe a little bit better, so you can kind of make the call yourself. But the in route probably should get open. And here we get nice outside release. We get an awful throw, but I think you guys saw the separation there. Dangerous play. Next setup, corner X, we're actually going to return A, which is down on the D-pad, and then we are going to curl B. So good spacing concept. We're really almost looking for Y or A, but B is just kind of over there for no reason. He's just like kind of a throwaway route. I don't know what to do with him. I could post him if I really wanted to, but spacing-wise, I don't love it if you post him because they kind of run in the same area. So maybe if you like custom stem him, then sure, he's a good clear out, but I go curl just to, hey, if it's cover 0, I have another option over there, right? So again, return A, good against man, and then corner X, you could custom stem him down if you want to try and open him up a little bit more. RB, more of a clear out concept. Now, X ran that route like an idiot, but he should be coming across open against cover 2. And then, yeah, let's say it's man-to-man coverage. The kind of guys we expect to do it should be kind of doing their thing. So if it is man, you could, again, custom stem down also a little bit just to try and get a better break. I don't know if RB will get open against man. Maybe not. I guess he kind of does, but if it's cover 0, RB is an option against cover 1. Not as great. Anyways, last setup, we're going to drag RB, deep cross A, post B. So this is kind of a creative, chaotic setup. I like this against zone just to open up these drags. Always need kind of one of these setups that I enjoy. So again, post B, drag RB, deep cross A. Just a lot going on, but it worked against cover 3, against cover 2 here. Maybe you actually want to drag X because he kind of stops there. That's actually pretty annoying. So let's update that. I would love this against man for sure too. So if it's man, I mean, just a lot going on. You're basically trying to run like a mesh pick play. And again, because we've been attacking so deep and attacking on the sidelines, he's probably not ready for this. Doesn't have like the right hook zones with zone drops, and he's not going to find anything open. So very good setup there in my opinion. And then let's say our last play, Z middle up. Where are we? We're on the bottom. So this is a different, again, looking setup, but should work pretty well. What I like here is this corner out with the flat with A. I think we can get it to work pretty good. So usually what I do is I put B, return B. Can't return. Oh, I actually like to return B over there. And then what I do is I deep cross A, fade X, and I flat Y. So we kind of actually don't use anything there that I talked about, but we will in the next setup. I like this corner out still as a stock route against man if it is man, but if against zone, we just kind of clear him out. You can streak him, do whatever, but I like B coming across late because you literally can't see him. Very sneaky route, and then we have kind of a basic concept on the other side that we've used a lot with the deep cross combination. And if I want, I could also just put B on like an in route. It's up to you guys, depending on the man or the zone, but of course we can check it down in the flat. Do our thing with our good running backs. As far as A, if you want to try and open them up in the middle of the field, you could go post too. Again, not going to be mad at this. Now, nobody's blocking, but again, B, very good underrated option. You're almost trying to open up B. He's on kind of a unique route too. Like if we wanted to leave him on his little stop and go route, it's not terrible. If he was using number 30, he probably wouldn't have seen that or expected it. But man would be kind of our ideal defense, I think, here, because we have the backside post that can get open. Its return should get open. And then deep crosser and even X on a fade. But corner out, open there, bad throw. Probably threw it a little bit early, but overall solid spacing. That route, of course, coming across open, and he's never really going to see that or expect it with his user. I could even also Texas Y for another man-beating option if I really wanted to. Anyways, the last setup of this video is going to be wheel Y, X on and out, A on a streak, and B on an in route. So trying to open up our running back here if at all possible on this wheel. And this is, again, something that we actually haven't done. This would not be a bad concept to incorporate in your bunch. I didn't necessarily post or do anything with it, but I don't hate it either. X, you could also just throw it to him, but trying to hit this wheel route, and you usually want it more space. So if I'm on the far left hash, maybe it's not as good. But again, wheel out with X, streak A, and put B on an in route. Boom, easy money. Can check it down late if I want to. But basically, I could quick snap X, throw it to B. I wouldn't run this really against man, to be honest with you guys. But if it is man, again, you still have your corner out over there. The wheel can get open against man coverage as well. But here it is against cover 2. We can actually hit him on the sidelines, which I'm definitely a fan of. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys, I guess we have our run play. Outside zone, kind of the basic run play. Now again, it's hard to audible from mesh dagger or one of those red zone whip flood type plays to the outside zone, because what happens is that wide receiver has to go out wide. So I don't love running the ball out of this. I would probably just honestly try to audible to like something else. Like there's some other good runs that I haven't talked about, but you guys can find them. Could even audible do a jet touch pass or a QB blast or whatever. So there's definitely some good runs in there. Obviously, if you want to run the ball running Wildcat, remember Wildcat. But yeah, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys did enjoy, hit that like, subscribe to the channel down below. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Peace, I'm out of here.